everyone, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. When I recently posted the video where I got my Adea concertos, some of you noticed that I was wearing a mask, and I got some messages asking me about why I was wearing a mask if I'm fully vaccinated. Today, I have some notes, and I'm gonna go over with you why I'm still wearing a mask. But if you're new here, my name is Amy, and I'm a certified elite trainer. I'm also a precision nutrition certified nutrition coach and PSA ranked and rated figure skating coach. That brings me to the first reason why I still wear a mask is I'm working with children indoors. And most of the children that I work with are under 12 years old. So they can't, at least not yet, get vaccinated. So I feel like if they're still wearing masks, I should still be wearing a mask because it sets a good example, for one thing. The other thing is they can't get vaccinated. So we should be wearing masks when we're around children. That's my opinion anyway. And I know that US Figure Skating has said that fully vaccinated people don't have to wear masks, and the CDC has said that they don't have to wear masks.
Hi everyone, Editing Amy here. I just wanted to say that there is now recommendations from the WHO that vaccinated people should consider wearing masks.
And the rinks that I work in say it's optional to wear masks, but I still wear one all the time. Actually, I wear two. I wear an N95 and I wear a UA sports mask over the top of the N95. The UA sports mask helps keep the N95 dry. That's why I wear two. The other thing is we are indoors. We're in an ice rink where it's cold, it's humid, and the rink is actually enclosed with plexiglass. And there's a lot of air swirling around because people are moving. And as they're moving, the air continues to swirl around this plexiglass. I don't know what the filtration systems are like at the rinks. That's not something that we're privy to. But I do know that indoor environments that are cold and humid without air coming in from the outside are considered to be a higher risk. Also, capacity has been increasing in many locations and other people aren't necessarily wearing masks because it's now optional. My comfort level with the increased capacity and people around me, whether they're vaccinated or not wearing masks. And here's the other thing. We're on the honor system with the masks. So no one has to prove that they're vaccinated to not wear a mask. I feel more comfortable wearing a mask for that reason. Also, and it's always been difficult to do physical distancing on the ice rinks, especially when you're working with small children, because oftentimes you do need to help them hold their hands and teach them how to stand up on their own. We really have to support them. And here's the other thing, true story. I haven't been sick in a year and a half, or 2 years maybe. This reminds me of something that I experienced in 2017. I went to Skate America. It was driving distance from me in Lake Placid, which is not exactly around the corner. It's about 4 or 5 hours away, but it was still close enough that I could drive there. And I did, and I volunteered as an ice monitor. I also got to perform in the gala, which was a great experience. But before I had my ice monitor positions and knew I was performing in the gala, I actually purchased a ticket, a good ticket. At the times I wasn't volunteering or practicing. I was seated next to a woman from Japan and she wore a mask the entire time. I have video of that. This is of Adam Rippon performing at the 2017 Skate America, his long program. And you can see me in the background next to the woman wearing the mask. The very last day of Skate America, after I performed in the gala, I went to my seat to watch other people that were performing in the gala. And at that time, a lot of people that didn't normally have seats in that area had moved down because it was the last day and a lot of people had already gone home. There was someone behind me that kept coughing and sneezing. And I thought maybe I should get up and move, but I really wanted my spot, so I didn't do that. I stayed where I was. And let me tell you, that was a huge mistake because as I was driving home the following morning, I felt like I had been hit by a truck. I got full-blown flu like 2 hours into my drive home. Fever, chills, muscle aches, pains, the whole lot. And because of the culture at the time, and I was working in my old job before I became a coach full-time, I went into work the next day because we were not really allowed to take off for being sick. But things have changed and now we know better and we don't go in if we're sick, I hope. Subsequently, other people in my office got sick to. I remembered thinking when I started to feel sick, how smart that lovely woman that I was sitting next to was, that she wore a mask the whole time. Because had I worn a mask the way she did, maybe I would not have gotten this sick and I would not have spread the flu to other people that I worked with. So you live and you learn. That experience has always stuck out to me, but I always think of that woman and how smart she was for wearing a mask. So not only have I not been sick in the past 2 years, I haven't had allergies. I mentioned before that ice rinks are cold and humid. One of the things about cold environments is that they tend to mean that mold grows there. And I'm not saying that the rinks that I work in are infested with mold or anything, because they're not, but I'm very allergic to any touch of mold. And typically in the spring, through the entire summer, I will get sinus infections just from walking into a rink. And then I can't get them to go away until the winter when it starts to get drier. But this year, I have not gotten not one sinus infection. And I've been back in the rinks since last July, and it is now June, so almost a full year. And I have not, knock on book, experienced one sinus infection. I think that's pretty incredible. I'm going to attribute that to wearing the mask in the rinks. Now, here are some other things. We are not at herd immunity yet in the United States. Today is June 22nd, and I checked with the CDC this morning. Only about 46% of the US is vaccinated. To be at herd immunity, we need to be above 50% throughout the United States, and really closer to 80%. In my opinion, we're not there yet, and I feel better wearing a mask. Here's the other thing. Vaccines do have a failure rate. Now, it depends on which vaccine you got. 1 out of every 20 people will not be protected by the vaccine. I mean, if you're in a room with 100 people and 1 out of 20 is not protected by the vaccine, that means that there's 5 people in that room that may get the virus. I feel better knowing that I have the mask on. Now, think about the measles vaccine. Now, that was developed in the 60s, and they started using it in 1963. It has a 97% effective rate, yet it took almost 40 years for the measles to be considered eliminated. From 1963 to around 2000, measles was still a disease that people could get. It took a long time for it to be considered eliminated, and we need to think about that. Also, more information is needed to determine if the vaccine actually prevents us from passing it on to other people. So I feel that wearing a mask helps to protect others and the little skaters that I'm working with, because some of them have lost family to the virus in the early months, and the last thing I want is for any of them to have to get the virus themselves, if I can help it. Now, lastly, we need to talk about variants. There are variants, and we're not entirely sure how well the vaccine protects us from them, but the more opportunity it has to mutate, and that's how variants happen. The Delta variant, which is the one that was first identified in India, it has more severe symptoms, and it may evade vaccines. Until we're in a much better place with all of this and we get to the point of 80% herd immunity, I am likely going to be wearing a mask for the foreseeable future, especially until the little 3-year-olds I work with can become vaccinated. I will continue to wear a mask. That's my plan at this point anyway. Let me know, how do you feel about this? Leave me a comment down below. Do you still wear a mask? Do you think it's silly that I still wear a mask? Leave a comment down below either way and let me know. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with others, and just post it to your social media too. And remember, I post at least 3 videos a week that can help you live a better life. So remember to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a video. This is Amy. Thank you for watching. I will see you real soon. Bye.